Welcome to Sinful's Horror Stories. For those of you who don't know, I just launched my new Sinful character as my channel art banner for my channel. Let me know what you guys think of the new Sinful character in the comment section below. I will be working on adding that new character to my Sinful merchandise in the future. Sit back, relax, stay sinful, my friends. Story number 1. It was New Year's Eve, my birthday, and myself and 2 of my friends were out of the front of my house, listening to music. We were about 12 at the time and there was no one else around. It was probably 10 or 10:30 at night, and we were waiting for the illegal fireworks to light up down the street. It probably sounds a little weird. 12-year-old kids by themselves at 10:30 p.m. listening to Katy Perry in the middle of the street, but it actually wasn't too unusual. My neighborhood is very close. We know all of our neighbors really well, so our parents who were in the house and ourselves weren't at all concerned. We were listening to Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. Yes, it was that time of the decade. We're jamming along to it when we began to hear a whistle. Now, first off, it sounded like it was part of the song, so initially everyone ignored it. Eventually, the whistle started to go out of tune to the song. It was an eerily out-of-pitch sound that it's hard to describe. I don't know why, maybe to hear it better, but my friend decided to pause the music. Maybe it was just in the song, or maybe the phone was glitching. As soon as the music stopped, the whistling continued, pitchy and low. We were a little bit spooked. It was dark outside, other than the few streetlights on the road. We couldn't really see much or make much out of the darkness, other than the strange whistling. We were able to pinpoint the direction it was coming from soon enough. We turned towards it and froze. About 10 meters from where we stood, just on the edge of the street lamp's light, was a man. He looked quite disheveled, most likely homeless. He was just standing there looking at us, whistling that god-forsaken pitchy tune. We were all frozen for a while, as I guess we were caught off guard. My fight or flight kicked in. I yelled at my friends to get inside, and they began to scream and run up the driveway. I pushed and shoved them forward, terrified because I don't know whether they could hear what I was hearing, but the whistling had finally stopped. Something else was drowning out the silence. Heavy-setted footsteps. He was chasing us. I screamed bloody murder at them, opening the front door and shoving them inside, not caring if I hurt them. I turned and slammed the deadbolt just as he reached the screen door. I watched as his figure came into view. He was dirty, wearing soiled long-sleeve clothes, but an unkept beard and worn a torn beanie. As I closed the door, he stopped just ahead of the screen, looked me dead in the eye, and murmured something that still makes my skin crawl. Damn it. One of my friends consoled the other, who was now in tears, as I watched them through the peephole. He lingered for a second more, then disappeared into the blackness. I remember my friends grabbing me, asking if I was okay, and then pointing down to my hands. I was shaking like a leaf. We never told our parents. This was over 10 years ago, and it still gives me the heebie-jeebies to think what would have happened if we hadn't noticed the out-of-place whistling. Disheveled old whistler. Let's not meet. Story number 2. I was coming back from a late-night walk, and it was almost midnight. I had left my apartment a couple hours earlier to clear my head, and I was feeling better, so I decided to head home. It was pitch black outside, zero moonlight, so I decided to cut through campus so I could walk by the street lamps. I had earbuds in blasting music, but I got this sudden sick feeling in my stomach, like it was twisting. My entire body felt ice cold, so I took out my earbuds, stopped walking, and looked around. I was on a sidewalk, about 50 meters from the left turn to change streets. I looked to my right across the other side and saw someone or something just roll down this hill out of the woods. They landed on the sidewalk parallel to me, stood up and just stared. You know that feeling when you get burned? That feeling shot through my entire body. Before I knew it, I was sprinting towards the street, to the left away from whatever that was. I looked behind me once, and they were now on my side of the street, sprinting towards me. Their legs were running normally, but they were letting their arms flop around as they ran. It was the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I tripped and fell and heard the steps catching up. I rolled out of the fall and kept going, got to the parking lot and hid under a car. I waited, but I didn't see anyone. Scariest thing that has ever happened to me. Story number 3. I was a sophomore in college, was going to the downtown campus of a great university. It's not a very good part of town. The college was making the area safer, but it was only safe for like a block in any direction. One night my roommate and I were studying. We decide we need late night snacks. We go to a Circle K that's 2 blocks northwest of the dorm building. It's 12 a.m., so not so smart to start with. Anyway, we're in the store and we grab our snacks and go to pay. There's a line at the counter and I'm chatting happily when I notice my friend get really rigid. I look at her and she looks me in the eyes, slowly shakes her head, basically saying, "Don't say anything," and motions behind us. There are 2 males a bit older than us, and I kind of look and notice that they're staring at the both of us. I want to leave and just put the snacks back and leave, but she just kind of stays still. They notice me looking and start talking animatedly to each other, which gives me a chance to ask her what's up. She whispers, "I've been listening to them. They were saying check that ass out, and I want her." I go pale and start feeling sick because it's dark as hell out in downtown, and this city isn't too safe for young girls out late. We decide to get our stuff and leave as fast as possible. We power walk back to the dorm. As we were walking, I look back and suddenly see that the guys were walking fast towards us. We run across the street without the crosswalk sign because we're so freaked out, and they can see that and it just makes them run faster. We're getting close to the dorm now, so my friend and I grab our key cards that are required and run the last few paces. We scan the cards, wrench the door open and close it hard. We run to the elevators by the security desk and look back. The guys are trying to get into the dorms by pushing on the doors. We tell the security guard what happened, and he looks and they're gone. He didn't really care though. We got up to our dorm all shaken, and by the chance I look out my window down at the street. There they are. The men are walking around the building. We watched until they were out of sight. We definitely didn't go back out that late or even to the Circle K again. So guys who decide to follow 2 girls who just wanted snack, let's not meet again. Story number 4. I'm a pizza delivery driver. My shift was always from 6 p.m. to midnight because I had a day job. Late one night I had a delivery to the same bad part of town. Usually I am more alert of my surroundings, but that night I wasn't because I was so tired. It was very late and the streets were very quiet. I knew exactly where I was delivering to because this man was a regular customer. I'm driving on the way there and I stop at a red light in the middle of a hill. As I'm waiting impatiently for it to turn green, I see a person walking about a block away in the direction of my car. It was dark, so it was hard to get a good description of what he looked like. I could just see movements. He stopped walking, lifted something up, and in very slow motion, I hear a loud bang, and the window of my driver's side completely shatters all over me. The man then starts sprinting in my direction. I step on the gas and sped off. I drove past my customer's house and stopped about a mile away. Called my boss and I said I quit. I drove home shaking but thankful to be alive. My family is my witness to this because they took pictures of all the broken glass, helped me clean out my car the next day. To the maniac who got away, I hope karma gets you, you piece of shit. Story number 5. This afternoon is the first time I've felt actively uneasy and unsafe to the point of arming myself while walking my dog. Some people just give off really bad vibes or weird energy. A man waited until a secluded section of a path to follow me and my dog. I decided to walk my dog along a somewhat secluded part of a coastal path between my town and the next one over. The start of the path, you're walking alongside a housing estate to one side and the railway line and the sea to the other. Then the housing estate gives way to fields in a steep wooded incline. It's fairly well trodden, but as I described, there are large stretches where the only way you can go in is forwards or backwards along the path. My dog and I passed a guy going the opposite direction to us, who returned my smile with a glare. Fine. Fair enough. Not everyone wants to be friendly, but this man just seemed off. My dog and I reached a pebble beach, where I stopped to take some photos of the sun setting before turning back the way we came to go home. After a few minutes walking, we passed the same guy again, and I don't even acknowledge him this time. What's strange is that between where we first saw him and the pebble beach, there's nothing else worth stopping for, so there would be no reason to get so far and then double back. A few meters after passing him, I glance over my shoulder and he's stopped, doing something on his phone, but it sounds like he's on loudspeaker to an automated voice. Another few meters. I check again, but he's now following us, which doesn't sit right with me, as this is a pretty secluded part of the path, more so than where we first saw him. At this point, I got my keys out of my pocket, spread them between my fingers so the pointy bits were sticking out, and I clenched my fist. I also took the dog's lead out and clipped it together. He stayed behind us, disappearing behind a corner every now and then, but he was always there. Thankfully, we got closer to civilization when he just vanished. Makes me wonder if he gave up because he missed his opportunity. Story number 7. I live in a rural area in Ireland, and the place I like to walk to is on a peninsula. It's a beach up both sides and very isolated, so sometimes I see seals up the fop. Anyway, this happened to me yesterday. I'm a 29-year-old female and I was walking up the beach. I go up one side and back down the other. As I'm walking up, I'm about a mile from the top. I notice a man runs up behind me and up around the corner at the top and then back down my direction. I think, cool, he's doing laps. Then when I get around the corner at the very end of the peninsula, he runs back up from behind me, but very close. I could have almost reached out and touched him. This frightened me, because it's a huge beach at the end, and I had headphones on. Just startled me. I turn around to keep going and I see the man standing on the dune facing me. He's climbed up on it and he's got a good bit ahead of me. I think he's just looking at the ocean like I was. Still, I feel like he's staring in my direction, and then he decides to move up the dune further. I see him crouch down and hide right where I would have to climb and walk past to get over to the other side. The only reason I can kind of see him is because he has a high visibility vest on, and I could see some of it through the grass. I stop and I'm looking, and then after a minute or so I see him stand up on the dune, just face me. He's wearing a runner's bandana and sunglasses, so I can't see exactly what he's looking at, but I'm stopped on the beach. He's standing on the dune looking my way, and then he takes 2 steps like he's coming back down. I just ran back the way I came. I had met a family walking their dog about 2 miles back, and I ran until I could see them. I was terrified and I don't know why, but when I caught him crouching, I had a primal-like fear that wasn't good. The really strange thing is I never saw him come back down the beach, even though he was coming down the dune towards me, and there was no one around. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed these truly horrifying stories of being followed. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for future content. Email your true scary stories to thesinfulsavant@gmail.com to have your stories featured on an upcoming video. Until we meet again, stay sinful.